You're gonna watch QT's video on the problem with statics of Rant. Warning, I might disagree with you. It's react time. I was gonna watch this yesterday, but I didn't get around to it. I was tired. The problem with statics in 14, a rant. Let's go.
This isn't a video talking about how bad statics are. This video is purely my experiences with a static.
I remember this. You're fucking 0.05% in rage. Rough. Ayo, it's me. It is you. Wait. Holy. I can't make it much louder, by the way. I'm sorry. Link in chat. I will at the end.
I've only been playing this game for 2 years, so I've not got the most experience. But from the times that I've had statics, they've not been great. And with PF on the horizon and becoming a lot more mainstream, I'm noticing a lot more problems with statics. There's a few categories that I'm going to go over: consistency, party finder, the social side, the times, casual, midcore, and hardcore categories,
Okay.
expectations in gearing. And before I go into these, again, these are my own opinions from the things that I've learned in the past 2 years of playing this game and being in multiple statics that are casual, hardcore, or midcore. So please do not take these as you should not join a static because of this. Statics in this game can be very good, and I will go over why they can be very good. So, to start with...
Alright, so, like, before we go into the video, I'm just gonna, like, lay out my own opinion, just for comparison's sake. I think statics are great, but I think they're only good when the group is on the same page, aka at a higher level. Casual statics are like some of the worst things in the fucking world, man, because everyone's goals end up differing. If you're all a bunch of new players, all that happens is that like half of the group ends up wanting to raid more and get into it, and then half of them just won't turn up to raid anymore because they don't fucking care. I think statics are at their best when everyone's goals align, or you're just a group of friends that want to have fun. I will still always recommend statics if you have the free time for progging things like Savage and Ultimate. I will never personally prog in PF because I do not have the patience. But that said, I've been around long enough that I'm able to join like fairly decent groups. So I'm of course biased, but I too started at a casual level. And my old casual statics, apart from those which were with my friends like Doc, I don't know if he's still here. Like Doc and Co. Apart from that, it wasn't great. We were trash, but it, you know, that was okay.
Consistency. Party Finder, especially, is a lot less consistent than a static. Now, in Party Finder,
Mostly.
week 1 can be very good. I've had a lot of success in week 1 Party Finder, especially on light. I don't know how it is on other DCs. Maybe 8th is good as well. I'm not an NA raider. But in general, PF is a lot less consistent.
Hey, I said casual statics are the worst. At that point, sure, it's you know, you like maybe PF is better, but that like it's if you're a better player, I think.
You have a lot of players lying about their prog. You have players who are not very good at the game, I should say. Whereas a static, you have set times.
You also have people that don't fucking communicate, say nothing, and then get upset when they're called out for fucking up the same thing 3 times in a fucking row before the prog point.
You have, you know who the players are in your static. You know how good they can perform. It can be a lot more consistent. You can talk to them. You can communicate any problems. You can help each other, leading to a more consistent environment. Now, along with this consistency, it also depends on the static that you have. So let's say a casual static. A casual static is going to raid a lot less than any other static. Usually they raid 2 to 3 days, I see, every week for a few hours or so. And these type of groups are more, to me, they are more social groups. You join this group, you go into a raid,
you join the group, you raid, and then you all fuck off to a venue together and jerk each other off.
Chat, you vibe, you have fun, etc. But you're also progging the fight at the same time. Now, as good as this can be, with a static such as casual or midcore, and with how the current tier is in Anabasios, 1 or 2 people can let a static down. And I found this out in Abyssos as well, which I'll get to in a sec. In Anabasios, there's a lot of 8-man checks. Almost every fight. So if 1 or 2 people cannot get a certain mechanic down, and yes, I know it's a casual group. It's not a hardcore group, so people are going to mess up, I know that. But you could be far along in prog, and these people will still mess up the easiest of mechanics, whether it be a spread, whether it be a stack, P10S, I'm looking at you. It can really hinder progress and can hinder people's mental, even though it's a stack just for fun, just for friends, etc.
Again, this comes down to what I say about casual like goals differing. It's important for everyone to be on the same page and to be honest with each other. But casual statics always end up with this divide, I think. Unless you're all a bunch of friends and you literally do not care, which does happen. Somebody's gonna get pissed off eventually.
Now, this kind of veers off into a different topic that I will talk about later, and then it's like the expectations. When people, or 1 or 2 people, cost a lot of time with mechanics that you've already probed, it's not great. From my own experience, I'm pretty determined to clear fights and prog. And when I don't get that prog, it sucks.
Yeah. It just means
Now,
you need to be in a better group.
But for me especially, that's the case. So once this starts happening, there's an idea in my mind to already start leaving. And in Abyssos, I had a stack that we cleared the whole of P8 within a week or so. And this was like week 6, week 7, so I wasn't expecting much. And then reclears came along, and then they couldn't clear the fight anymore. And a whole lockout, a whole 3 hours, we didn't reclear, which is just crazy to me. So I left immediately, because that's just unacceptable.
I think in early weeks, it's okay to need a couple raid sessions to reclear. Like, when I do week 1 prog, I don't fear the week 1 prog. I fear the reclears next week. Because God, it's fucking bad. Because you prog so fast that you haven't learnt the fight. You're just brute forcing it, for the most part. Apart from, like, maybe the last floor. But the week 2 reclears are fucking awful. Like, it takes, like, 6 hours, maybe. Apart from, like, you know the last floor really well, because you've obviously spent the longest time progging there. But the first 3, holy fuck. This happened in Anabasios, it happened in Abyssos, I'm pretty sure it happened in Aspho too. It's just how it goes. After that, okay, like, I understand. But in like week 2, it's okay.
And this is why I have such an issue with mid-core stacks especially, which I'll again talk
But like
about
mid-core, yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe.
Now, Party Finder, in my opinion, and from experience, is a lot easier progging.
Yeah.
As someone who progged and killed every Savage in every Ultimate in PF. This is easily the best and easiest thing you could do. Doesn't really matter how good you are at the game. PF will always be a lot easier. You can prog whenever you want to. There is no time constraint. There is no pressure on being on a certain day with a stack. You don't miss days because of other people. You can just jump in PF and go. Now, later on in the tier, this isn't great because people have cleared the tier. Like right now, I don't know what week it is. It's like week 20, 25, 30. Who cares? It is a lot harder to prog because everyone's cleared. So, doing this early is the best thing you could do. And especially week 1, I said at the start with consistency, week 1 PF can be really good. You can get to P12 phase 2 or, you know, the 4th floor, 2nd phase in PF. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. That's also where some strats came from in general. If you're really determined to get a clear early, or at least prog, PF can also do that. There's no need for a week 1 stack unless you are either...
Okay, right, I'm gonna stop you there. Right. I think if you go into early PF prog without the expectation, I'm sure you'll get there. Without the expectation of clearing week 1, I think it's fine. Some good players do prog in PF early, like, early on. Like, that is true. I think you have to have had some harrowing experiences of week 1 groups, though, to say that PF is better. Because here's the thing, like, you are absolutely right that PF is good for just going in whenever you feel like it. That is very true. Like, that is a big perk of PF. I think that's a big pull. That's like a big appeal to some, because, you know, like, maybe they do shift work and stuff. But I think regardless, if you're going to put a lot of time into progging early, then you're probably going to have taken that time off anyway. And I just think, I mean, you know, obviously, like, I'm biased because, like, I've had decent week 1 groups. Like, I've been lucky. But, and, you know, I realize groups go wrong on week 1. You know, I've heard of it. I've seen it. I remember, like, my friend's group in Eden's Gate, way back, got to 0.1% Titan in week 1, and then they disbanded. And it does happen. But I think you have to go in with less expectations in PF in order to, like, kind of survive that, personally. Like, PF definitely has its perks, but you have to go in with a more open mind.
Racing, or you don't want to deal with the gear problem, which I will again talk about later.
This is, of course, my opinion. You know, like, a lot of people's opinions on these things are based purely on their experience, and that's, you know, that's completely valid.
Alongside this, you can prog whenever you want in PF. You're not locked behind the time constraints of a stack. You're not locked behind raiding 3 days a week for 3 hours. You can PF hop if 1 or 2 people are bad and they're hindering prog, they're not helping.
What the fuck did I just see?
Stack. You're not locked behind raiding 3 days a week for 3 hours. You can PF hop if 1 or 2 people are bad and they're hindering prog, they're not helping.
How is this strat working, bro? How is this strat working? That's JP's strat, man. I forgot how scuffed early strats were.
It's not just leave and go next. You have to either kick the person or deal with it. Now, I had this in top. When I was progging top, we had one person who just stuck out more than the rest and was just not the person you wanted in a hardcore stack.
Man, I hope they're watching
So we had to
this.
kick them. And ultimately wasted about 2 weeks, 2 extra weeks of prog time. Because we had to find someone else at the same prog point. Week 2 of an ultimate release. So it wasn't great. But alongside this, again, there is an all-time high of people lying about where they are in the fight. Prog lying has become insanely mass spread recently.
See, I think, like, in a stack, if you have a weak link, you can remove them and find a replacement. I mean, like, you did it here. Especially in ultimates, there will be people looking. There will. There will always be people looking. Right, in Savage, like, I don't know. But in ultimates, there's always people that have just had bad fortune and they're looking for another group. So you can refill pretty fast. But, like, the whole prog lying thing is, like, the worst thing in PF. It's one of the worst things. Again, especially in ultimate. And I honestly think, at a higher level at least, like, statics outweigh that easily. Because you can replace and keep going so much faster.
And I'm not sure why.
The only problem is, like, teaching them
in
strats.
almost
Because
every
early on
fight.
strats differ so,
I do a
like,
lot of Cliffer ones.
insanely.
And the amount of people that I see are absolutely clueless. And you can really tell. Like, if you think about prog lying,
I mean, I think that's still lying, April.
you are easily
honestly.
the most spottable person in the
That's
ring.
just me.
If someone knows a fight, they're going to spot you immediately and call you out.
You know?
This happens almost every single party. It's a 1 in 2. You have a 50-50 chance if you're going to clear or there's a prog liar and you're going to get nowhere. Now, obviously you can just kick them, which is fine. But if you're not the party lead and the party lead is just clueless or, you know, they don't really care, it gets annoying. And yeah, you can just leave, go again, but again, you'll have to wait in PF, wait for another party. And oh look, there's another prog liar. So you make no prog. I don't know why these are so popular at the moment. Maybe because there's nothing to do. Maybe because PF.
While prog lying is somewhat of an issue, I also think people's expectation of others' consistency is also a bit skewed. I do agree. I think it is unreasonable to call someone a prog liar just because they make a mistake. And people do that. And it is a little unfair. People do make mistakes. I do think it's reasonable to wait and just see what happens. If they are noticeably lost at a certain point after like a few tries, then I think it's time to maybe, you know, raise the eyebrows. But I do agree that some are a little impatient.
Has become a lot more mainstream. You can PF ultimates now. You can PF everything. So a lot more people are thinking they're just really good at the game. And could just lie and speed proc. Which is not true. It's really,
Depends on the
really
fight.
difficult
Sometimes you can.
to one-shot a mechanic or a couple mechanics when you have no clue of the fight. You can read a toolbox. You can watch POVs or whatever. It's not the same as actually doing it. Obviously, some people can do this, and props to them, because it's very difficult.
Mm.
But prog lying,
This is the thing. It's not lying if you don't get found out. Well, like, it's more noticeable in fights like DSR and top and anything with more body checks because, you know, you're gonna cause a wipe more often than like being dragged through kicking and screaming in somewhere like UCOB.
is a huge issue right now. So that's probably the one really bad thing about PF is the prog liars.
You probably shouldn't say that, cute.
So like I just said, with PF becoming more mainstream, you might have heard of LPDU, or the people prog a lot on Aether, or clear a lot on Aether. Light Party Finder does Ultimate. If you don't know what LPDU is, it's the main DC and Discord for.
Never heard of it
Ultimate
personally. I should check that out.
Online. These are really huge at the moment, and I think come 7.0, Party Finder is going to be at an all-time high. Thanks to these Discords. Now, holy shit, this could be toxic.
Uh-oh.
But
uh-oh.
What community isn't toxic? But if you ever want a PF, now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. Even with all the bad things, it's still going to be better, in my opinion, than a static. Anyway, I've rambled about PF enough. The social side of statics. Now, I've had...
Here's why I don't always agree with that. Because in a static, you'll do PF strats as well. At this point. I think it depends on the content, and I think it depends how much time you have. A lot of people prog in PF, and I'm never going to tell somebody not to, like, especially later on, but I still think a static is not a terrible idea in, like, a harder fight. I don't think it's an awful idea. I think it's really just kind of up to you. But either way, you're going to use the PF strats because they're all standardized. And then that way, you can do this crazy thing called having a static and PFing at the same time without conflicting strats. So really, I think the idea is to do both.
Some pretty good luck with the social side of statics. Out of the 5 or 6 statics I've been in, most of them have been pretty good. I've made a lot of friends. The first static I was in, I'm still friends with a lot of them. The second static I was in, I've also made a lot of friends with them. I've met some of them in real life. And this was, you know, years ago that I joined these statics. But one thing I do encourage, now this might sound bad, and it really depends on you, is in my opinion you should not raid with friends. Maximum raid with one friend, or make a static with one friend. I've seen very many statics blow up, break up, because there is 5 or 6 people that are all friends, close friends, hang about every day.
I love this new emote.
And it falls apart. Because either one, you don't make prog, because you just mess around. Or people get salty for whatever reason. And then friendships break up. Like, I don't know how it happens, but I've seen it happen, and I've had it happen in a group or two that I've seen and helped him. And since then, I've told myself I'm not making or raiding with a static that has one or more, that has more than one of my friends in. Now, this really depends on the person. For me,
No, these are Giga Chad strats, man. Fuck AM. I'm a big fan. Or, you know, self-mark, like I did in my group. Shout out to Theo and Gerald in chat. Anyway, on this topic, I mean, yeah, it's true that a lot of people can't separate raid from, you know, standard friend things. It is very possible for friends to just not be friends anymore due to raid, and like that fucking sucks. But I think if people are mature enough, I think they can handle it. I think relationships and stags are worse. The bias is way more obvious. All friends and get shit done. Yeah, like it is rare. It is rare to have that sort of like perfect sort of encapsulation of ideas and friends and shit like that. That's not the right word, but sorry about the coughing.
Iraku gifted a tier 1 sub to Theovark. They have given 72
Thank you for the gifted
subs
sub,
in the
Eric.
channel.
I just want to get a fight cleared and progged and done and out of the way. I'm not there to be your friend. I'm not there to joke around. Yes, it will happen because that's just natural, right? But I'm not there to purposely do that. I'm there to prog, kill the fight, and hang out when I want to, when I need to, etc. But the fight,
I mean, that's kind of what rants are. They're just ramble.
If I'm raiding with a friend,
I ramble all the time.
they are not my friend. They're simply someone I raid with at that time. Out of raid, that completely changes. Now, again,
Then again, I guess that's on Twitch.
just, like, depends on the stack that you're in. You can have more fun time progging because you like to be social, etc. But the one thing that always comes with a stack is the drama side. There's not been much drama recently. The only drama I know of this tier actually was between a group / 2 people that I knew
Jesus,
that I've raided with before in PF,
are they still married?
which was like the most pettiest drama ever. But I'm not gonna get into that. But drama and stacks just seem to happen so much, or used to happen so much. It seems like, and obviously this is not gonna be like in every stack. Drama is very easily avoidable, but it's also very easy to cause drama, especially with the egos some people have, and the whole FF logs schizo disease.
Based.
So drama is unavoidable sometimes, and my own experience with this is a quick anecdote.
Holy shit, bro, base. People, like, if anyone mentions FF logs pertaining to DPS in fucking prog, like, I fucking lose it so fast, man. I cannot deal with it. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it once unless you're hitting in rage. Like, consistently. I don't want to hear it. Next track, thank you for gifting the sub to Rinny. Appreciate it. I just don't want to hear it, man. Like, it's so fucking annoying. Right, the second someone mentions it, my brain just turns off. What they say, I'll repeat.
And the whole FF logs schizo disease.
There you go.
So drama is unavoidable sometimes, and my own experience with this is a quick anecdote. Abyssos, I had 2 healers who were a couple. Obviously, we were all in Discord. We were progging. It was all going well. And these 2 healers were in a separate call by themselves. While in this Discord call as well.
Nah.
Muted. Now, I don't know what kind of like thought was put in their head, but like, why do you need to be in a separate call? Do you not already hanging out enough outside of raid that during raid you have to be in a call together as well? Like, that made no sense to me. So I quickly left that stack as well.
Full disclosure, I was once in a call with a friend while they were raiding in their T stack in a call with their T stack. But number 1, I was not in the group. And number 2, I was just helping them prog. Yeah, holy shit, that soil seems so small now. Now it extends the entire hitbox. Holy shit. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know why people act like that. Like, you know, I can see why you don't like statics. You know, you've clearly had a fucking horrible experience. I'd be just as pissed as you. Like, I don't understand why people are like that, man. It's so weird. And just briefly on the FF logs thing, like, if you have high passes and you think you're hot shit, you're fucking delusional. I don't give a fuck how good your passes are. It doesn't mean you're good at prog. Okay? It doesn't. Let go of that thought. Let it piss into the wind. It does not matter. Farming content you've already cleared is not the same as learning content. Shut the fuck up.
But like social side of things, it's usually pretty good. You just kind of have to get lucky.
Okay, base
There's
Eric.
a lot of statics out there. There's some luck to
My
it.
first machinist DSR
It's
clear had
best
100
if you
had 100
know at
healing.
least one person. And like I said earlier, don't raid with friends. Or in my opinion, you shouldn't raid with friends. But having one there that you at least know, or having a person in a static that you can get buddy-buddy with is a good thing. It
I
will
think that's fine as long as you don't fall into the
stop
same
you from going
pitfalls.
mentally insane. My second Abyssal static was 7 out of 8 Arabic. That was a wild ride.
Trial is always
So
more
I've kind of already
important.
gone over this already, but with the times and the waiting in PF and schedule, PF wait times it depends on the time. So I don't know if I said earlier, I can't remember. It's 10 AM, I'm tired as fuck. Later in the tier, it's going to be up to hours before a party fills. Earlier in the tier, you're going to fill pretty fast. Now, static scheduling, I don't know why this is, but whether it be a casual, mid-core, or hardcore static listed, and now I'm going to say the forbidden 3 letters of ERC. Looking at ERC, it doesn't matter if it's casual, mid-core, or hardcore. They will always list, or most of the time, always list 3 hours, 3 days a week. And the funny thing is, that I see a lot, is a hardcore mindset. And then have 3 days, 3 hours. I don't know how or what a hardcore mindset is. But it's a thing that people put in their statics.
Okay, right. So, I agree. I don't understand people that go like semi-hardcore static or like hardcore static and they're going like 10 hours a week. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense, man. Will you shut up? Thank you. You know, I don't understand that either. But a hardcore mindset is just literally that, like, every time you raid, you are there to prog, and you are there to prog fast. That's basically what that means. It just doesn't really work well with a casual static, with casual hours. So, like, you can have, like, a semi-hardcore static doing, like, I don't know, 4 hours a day or something. Like, every single day. I think, like, hardcore raiding is a 2-part thing. It's the time commitment and it's the mindset. But I think, you know, if you're in a casual group, like, asking for a hardcore mindset is just, like, it's just not it, man. Like, it's just not it. Like, that's just not gonna happen. Just, you know, with hardcore groups, it tends, you know, there tends to be a strong correlation between the mindset people have and the time that you're doing.
Which is basically them saying, we're trying to be hardcore, but we're not good enough. But if you're a person who doesn't have a lot of time, sometimes some stacks can cater to that. So if you're a...
Tune.
If you work 5 days a week, and you're can only play 2 hours a day, Andy, then some sags can be good for that. And like I said, with the 3 hours, 3 days, that can be very adjustable because it's only 3 days a week and it's only 3 hours, right? It can be very adjustable, It doesn't have to be on 3 set days. You could schedule it a week in advance, etc., etc. So, if you don't have a lot of time, it can be pretty good. But then, if everyone did that in a stack, sometimes it could be a nightmare scheduling, because let's say 3 people have 3 different.
Why'd you have to show me this fucking fight, man? I'm happy just forgetting this fight exists because it's so fucking bad. Oh my god.
Like schedules at work or whatever they need to do. And you add it all up and it comes to 1 day a week. Now what? And I had this once. I was making a static to help friends prog with tea, and I got 8 people. And then I put everyone's availability in this giant ass spreadsheet. And it was like 1 to 2 days a week.
The days of cutesy being
Sometimes
cutesy
0,
empty.
Which
I
is
remember.
There's no point even rating at that point. So again, it's kind of hit or miss. If you don't have a lot of time, the best thing I think you can do is PF and just try and get lucky. Or
I mean,
PF.
you're kind of contradicting yourself here because you mentioned earlier that PFs can take ages to fill. At least with a static, if you don't have much time, if you can find a static that fulfills that requirement, you still get to raid. Whereas PF, you might end up doing fuck all because it doesn't fill. Just keep that in mind.
Early enough to where
At least on
you
a
can
schedule,
actually
you
fill
know
bars.
you can raid.
So the big topic of
Alright, like, I'm seeing a few comments, like, shitting on the style of the video. I don't think it's that bad. Sure, maybe a script, like, a bit more scripted and, like, a bit more flow would have been better, but, like, rambles are fine. Just ranting and just getting your thoughts out there on YouTube, not a bad thing. I don't think it's bad. Yeah, it's just like a fireside thing. I don't think it's that bad. I think your real problem is like your mic level. You're too quiet. If you're a bit louder, I think it would be like better. But like I have no problem with like the stopping and starting. Like I like just listening and commenting. Like, I think that's fine.
casual statics, the mid-core statics, and the hardcore statics. These are a meme. So casual statics are just as it sounds, you know, casual, no expectations, meme, raid with friends, not really care about when you kill or how much you prog. These are good statics if you don't have any expectations, if you don't have those, and you just want to play.
I mean, I am one to talk chat. Like, when I rant about something, I pause so much, either because I fucking stutter, or, like, I just can't get my thoughts out. Like, I'm just as bad. Like, I am the last person to judge something like that.
You want to press buttons, you want to meme, play with friends, whatever. These are really good statics. I'm in one right now, and it's pretty fun. Like, I wouldn't consider myself a hardcore player, but I'd like to be one. I play religiously every day, mostly in PF. I've done the hardcore prog, and for some reason this static is like more fun than any other static that I've been in. There's just something about not caring about when you clear and just vibing. It just makes
Yeah, also that, like, QT is new to making videos as well. Like, keep that in mind as well. QT is also my editor and does a great job with the clip compilations. I don't want to hear it, chat. QT's great.
a lot more fun, I guess. Now, I'm going to skip midcore and go to hardcore real quick. Hardcore statics, I've only been in 1 or 2. I was in a hardcore stack for top. Now, this is the best stack I've ever been in. Purely because of the fight that it was. I really enjoyed top prog. Going hardcore. Because everyone has the same expectation.
Hardcore stacks are so hard to find. It's because you need to know people. Like, there just aren't that many, especially on EU. There just aren't that many. You need to know people. It's like finding a job.
It's an on-content ultimate fight. And it was good fun with the right people and being blind especially. Being blind is a big part of making a static fun. Now for hardcore, and I guess this counts towards midcore as well, good preparation and a good 1 or 2 stag leaders is very, very valuable in a static. If you have one person who is assuming the role of static leader and they don't do a good job, they can go downhill very fast. People will stop caring. There will be not much respect. Luckily, this isn't really an issue because there is a lot of people who can do that. And every stag that I've been in has been very good in terms of the people that stag lead. I've kind of stag led once during Abyssos. And if I'm honest, it's not the hardest thing to do. You just have to put some effort in.
I think the best statics have a leader, but all that leader does is just make people show up on time. If everyone is just self-sufficient, I think that's the best scenario. I think if you have one person doing literally everything, then that's kind of bad for that person, honestly. Yeah, like the term raid leader is like, it's kind of a weird one. It's like, what is a raid leader? Do they just make sure people are punctual? Do they go and get strats and like do all the research? Do they call the shots in raid? A combination. Like, I think the responsibility should be shared. I think putting it all on one person and letting everyone else be lazy is really bad.
So, as long as you have a good 1 or 2 good people who can hold together the static, who can make resources, who can, you know, put an hour or 2 outside of the static raid time, it's gonna go so much smoother. And I can guarantee you this, and this might just be for me, but static leading is actually kind of fun. And this might just be me because I like making strats. I like doing callouts.
I'm
it
really
helps me
shit
as well.
at making strats, dude.
But it can be pretty fun.
I'm a bot that does what he's told.
But moving on to midcore. So, when I talked about ERC earlier, midcore will take up 95%, 90 to 95% of
Making me pause just to put the fucking ears back on, man. Can't believe this.
LFGs. Now, I will never touch a midcore stack again.
Same.
There are such a wide range of people, expectations,
True.
a lot of things.
I think this is true.
These are the stacks that are stuck at 3 hours, 3 days a week, like I said earlier.
How much
They
are
will not
they,
go
Marco?
less, they will not go more. Maybe, at a push, 4 hours a day. These stacks that I've been in, that have been quote-unquote midcore, have been hell. I encourage people to not join these. It is probably much better to join a casual stack. You might even prog more. But if you don't want that, and you don't want to join a midcore stack, PF is your way to go. Mid cores have just, they are so wide variety that people.
I think if you're with friends, it's fine. I think a group of friends, we're all with the same goals and all just want to have fun. I think that's fine. It is when you've had bad experiences or you have like weird times, a lack of a schedule, as it were, that like PF becomes better. You know, I think it's just really down to the individual and their own experiences.
People have different expectations. You have half the party, or more than half the stack, having an expectation to prog and kill the fight, and then you have like 1 or 2, maybe 3 people who are just there because it's new content. They want to press buttons and they don't care. They don't care about when the fight gets killed. They don't care about how many days they raid. They don't care about how much they prog. They don't care about doing damage and killing the fight. They don't care about the other people in the stack. And this contrast is probably
Nice
the reason
keyboard, by
why
the way.
most mid-core stacks blow up.
Look at that.
A somewhat hard fight. I've heard stacks blow up on P3S, on P7S, P8S, P11S, fucking P9S I've heard before.
I think another problem is people's self-belief. There was not so much of a huge stigma around raiding raiders being toxic pieces of shit. That puts a lot of people off joining a stack of a label. I mean, self-belief is just tied to mental, I think. I mean, you know, I lack self-belief sometimes. I still think I'm a weak link in hardcore groups, but people keep taking me, so clearly I'm not doing too badly. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. I don't know what the connection is.
And I can only imagine it's because it's a quote-unquote mid-core stack having different expectations.
So that boss is hard.
And people getting angry at each other. One person quitting, 2 people quitting. They can't find more people, the stack disbands, blah blah blah. So I encourage people to not join a mid-core stack unless you know what you're getting yourself into. The best bet is just honestly joining PF. But yeah, different expectations is not good.
Yeah.
I've had this, like I said earlier, with my Abyssal stack, the 2 healers that didn't care. That's what makes the stack explode, and that's the reason I left, and the reason that stack never carried on.
I think it's sad that stacks explode after over like 1 or 2 idiots. Like, it's like people take this idea of when you light party a PF, like everyone leaves because everyone's impatient and wants to find another group or some shit, and then they take it into stacks. So as soon as like someone's kicked or they leave, like everyone else leaves. Like, people need to stop doing that and just be like, if you're getting rid of a weak link, then things might actually get better.
Now, I guess the last thing that I'm going to go over is the gearing situation. Now, this isn't just...
Nah!
Now, I guess the last thing that I'm going to go over is the gearing situation.
Bro did not make that. Bro did not make that. What the fuck? Wait until the next fight? Okay.
Situation. Now, this isn't just static / PF. Gearing in this game is an issue in itself, which I'm not going to get into much. But gearing in general is awful. The book costs are way too high. The RNG between 8 players is way too high. So, if you are going to PF, and you plan to just PF the whole tier until BIS,
Yo, good fight.
be ready to wait between 8 and 20 weeks. Because either...
The loot RNG is fixed? What are you saying? No, it is not. It's absolutely not. in PF, you are still at a very real chance of just not getting anything for weeks. It's definitely not fixed. The books, I think, are better. The books are better. Still have no idea why you'd exchange weapon books for fucking, like, something else, but it's the world we live in, I guess. The real problem's the tomes, man. The tomes and the tome upgrades, the worst fucking part of gearing right now.
One, you just won't get
and
a piece
PF RNG.
ever. Or two, you'll just have to farm books. I've been trying to get a healer chest piece from P11S for about 10 weeks now. 11 weeks, maybe more. I still haven't got it. Because I've had to use the books from that for my actual main job. Which doesn't use the chest piece coffer. So I've had to buy twines, etc. to bis the job that I play. But actually not getting the coffer is just awful.
Loot still needs work.
But I won't get into the gearing and how bad it is in this game that much. Gearing in a PF, like I just said, is hit or miss. So you should know what you get yourself into, especially.
3 sets, Kello, but yeah, it's pretty shit. Well, I guess technically 4 because of the accessories on scouting, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't get it either. Like, why don't they just remove dexterity from the game and just make it all fucking 1 set? Then give us meld plates, problem solved. Thank you.
With the tone cap, Lamar.
You're welcome, Screenix. Just doing your job
in a
for
stag,
you.
This is a lot easier. This is a lot better. If you are in a hardcore stag, you can do splits. And if you don't know what splits are, it's basically having an ult for every character or every player. And basically doing the tier twice in 1 week. Because half of you are ults, half of you are mains, and then you swap. This dramatically cuts down the time by half. So you could be bis by week 4, week 5, depending on tomes.
Unlock the tier after
really.
4 months would be nice, right?
Picked out some points of why I think stags are not a good idea anymore. Especially with PF picking up recently. With the 7 to 8 months of downtime now until Dawn Trail, Party Finder is kind of your best friend, especially for Ultimate.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that now, just because you have so much time. But I would honestly still say, like, if you're really keen on clearing, like, you either PF a lot or you get a static and PF. Since most statics will probably be using PF strats now anyway, since they're all laid out in like LPDU, for example, and they're really easily accessible. So you don't have to go looking anywhere. You just go in a channel and like there it is. It's all there. Just do that.
In my opinion, are the reasons why statics are good and why statics are bad. And in the end, I think statics are only good and only worth if you are either racing
if you're really keen about clearing
or doing week 1 / hardcore ulti prog or whatever.
You PF full PF a lot or you get
Otherwise,
a static
I
and
think
PF.
it's so much easier to just PF. If you have the mentality to PF, you should do it. And I know a lot of people get anxiety from joining PFs. We've all had it before.
Just like if you prog further in PF than your static, like just don't be an asshole to your static unless the static's bad.
I still get it from time to time. I barely join DSR because I'm scared I'm gonna fuck up, even though I've cleared it a bunch. So I can understand why people don't want to PF and think stacks are better, which is fine, because there's still a lot of good reasons why you should
have
join
assholes
stack.
like me in PF. I wouldn't want to play with me either.
But I think as we come closer to Dawn Trail, stacks are just gonna be slowly withered out, and a lot of people are just gonna PF. Especially on light. I've seen the amount of PS on Light is laughable compared to Chaos. If you go to Chaos, there'll be...
Bro, let's not start on this. Oh, God. You just had to do it to him, didn't you? You just had to drop the bomb, like, holy. What was it the other day? Like 108 to 8? Like, holy fuck, man. It was actually just horrifying. Chaos used to be the home of the raiding servers. It actually did. Oh my god, man. Talk about fucking sticking a knife in and twisting. Holy. Yeah, I'm sorry, Chaos. I don't know what's happened. I thought it would stay that way for Ultimate, but not Savage as well. Like, that was fucking insane. 1 PF Pro and 1 Unreal right now. What's Light at? Bruh. Holy. Jesus.
5 to 10 high ends at peak. You go to Light, is about 100.
It is LPDU's fault, but people didn't have to stay here for Savage.
If you do wanna prog in PF and you are on EU, Light is the way to go. You might already know. If you're on EU, you probably already know about Light and LPDU, etc.
I just like the real problem is that like new players will see Chaos PF and just be like, why am I playing this game? It's dead. Like if no one tells them. Like, Square Enix unironically needs to address this. We either need cross, like, DCPF and instances. Or, like, I don't know what else they can do, honestly. Yeah, it's the same on NA, I'm aware. Yeah. I used to PF Asphalt and Crystal every week, and it was actually really fun. And then it just died overnight. What if we bring PF to Chaos? So, like, when I was staffing LPDU, I actually had this idea of, like, designating a day or a few days or even a week of, like, just sending everyone on Light to Chaos and making PFs there. I had this idea. If any LPDU staff are listening right now, make it happen. Like, I'd be down to do that. It would be fun. The problem is, I think Chaos would just find it insulting. Like... Like, that was my concern. Like, I didn't want to piss people off. Yeah, you just need to, like, mass push people over there for, like, a few days. Everyone goes to Chaos and raids there. But yeah, make it happen. I'd be down.
Aether, well, NA, I know has Aether. I'm not sure about Primal. I don't know if they still raid. Crystal's dead, Lamau.
I mean, like, the problem with NA is that, like, it was entirely based on preconception. Everyone was like, hey, guys, Aether's the raiding DC. So then everyone just traveled to NA to raid. Or, sorry, to Aether to raid. And it's like... But, like, that wasn't even necessarily true. Like, people were perfectly capable of raiding on Primal and Crystal. So, based on preconception alone, everyone just stopped raiding on Primal and Crystal. So I feel worse for NA than I do for EU.
This doesn't even exist. I'm just ranting about PF now. But, like, from now on, I don't think statics are a good way to go unless you're racing or unless you're doing week 1 hardcore / hardcore ulti pro. It's just going to be a waste of time. But like I said, it depends on your expectations. It depends on what you want to...
Sorry, it must... sorry to keep pausing. Like, it must be, like, stated, though, that this doesn't mean that Chaos doesn't have good players on it. Like, if you're looking for a decent static and, like, you know, it's like fucking, like, Chaos advertising or something, like, don't be put off. Like, please. I feel like this doesn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like, Chaos still has, like, a lot of serious raiders. They just travel here to PF. some of the best statics in the world. Like, for example, Alice and Abyssos are still, like, mainly Chaos based, I'm pretty sure. Like, just as an example. So, like, don't, like, you know, don't just think that Chaos is, like, terrible at raiding all of a sudden. That's not true.
Clear. It depends on when you want to clear.
Yeah, and Kirana's. Yeah.
And it just depends on you, really. Like I said, this is not to say statics are bad. Statics are good.
And Neverland, yeah.
All the statics that I've been on pretty much have all been very good to me. But from what I've learned, I don't think I'll be joining statics outside of Hardcore Prog anymore. Purely for some of the reasons
I
I've
hope
talked
so,
about.
Sonic. Yeah, I hope it does balance back out. I just don't know if it will.
The main ones being consistency and expectations.
Okay, so Neverland, I think, has people from NA in it, but it is Chaos based.
They are like the big killers of statics.
It was like half of. Is it like half of all
That's my opinion on
TPS?
statics.
I can't remember.
During Endwalker, I guess, or the end of Endwalker. Now that I've cleared everything, I think going into Dawn Trail, it's gonna be either week 1 or week 20 because I couldn't care. Although an Ultimate will be releasing, so I kind of want to clear as fast as possible.
Yeah, you'll need to care about that if you want to do Ultimate.
But, I don't know. Maybe I'm not the best person to talk about this. But it depends on you, what your expectations are, when you want to clear,
Nice DD.
how you are mentally.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, PF is the best way to go.
I need to
especially
work
for
on my
Ultimates.
mental. My mental needs to be
The
better.
Ultimates have been out for 17 years. You're not going to find a hardcore static or a static that's going to prog within a week. Now, you can find them. I've heard people get those type of statics.
Same doc.
But if you want the fastest way to prog an ultimate, it's just go to PF. Go to Light.
It's
Join
not a
LPDs.
bad suggestion.
Go to Aether if you're on NA. I don't know if Primal still raid in PF. If you're on JP or OC, unlucky.
Wait a minute.
But Ultimates especially, you should party finder.
I mean, maybe OCE, yeah, but JP, I don't know. JP's pretty busy, man.
Is easily the best way. But that's my take on stacks. I've got nothing else.
I
really
love
to
the
say.
pen slap.
I've gone through all my bullet points, I guess. There's not much else to say. Let me know if you disagree, agree, whatever. But I don't know. I don't think stacks are good anymore.
I thought you had a group. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think stacks are good anymore. Alright, look. I mean, look. It was a decent video. I think you need to be louder and maybe, like, pause a little bit less so it's a bit more coherent. But, like, as a fireside sort of rant, like, look, I'm down for it. I don't mind that. Maybe some people do, but fuck them. You can't please everyone. Honestly, getting just thoughts down in a video, not that bad. There is the video chat. Give him a like, give him a sub. This is my editor with the compilations we've recently started doing. Please give him some love. I should read some comments. And I mean, it's honestly an important topic because, like, here's why it's important. Because, like, this is a decision that everyone has to make, man. Like, do I want a pug or do I want a static? And, you know, obviously you shouldn't listen to, like, any, like, one singular person. Obviously not. You should ultimately make your own choice. But it is an important topic. Okay, like, there's a lot of essaying here. Honestly, fuck it. Okay. Seems like this guy just wants to complain about static. I've never heard such a bad take, bro. If your static's constantly saying you start doing a job being more selective, important, join higher tier circles. This guy didn't watch the video. This guy read the title and just started chatting in the comment section. Like, they never collectively said statics were always bad. And just join high tier circles, man. Yeah, just meet hardcore players and join them, lol. Who the fuck... bro, I fucking hate YouTube commenters for the most part. Sometimes they say good things, but when they say bad things, like, it's just abhorrently shit. Like, YouTube commenters are like the biggest fucking essayers ever. The amount of pausing and jumbled ranting. Like, this, like, I somewhat agree with, but, like, as a fireside rant, I think it's fine. Like, it's... I think maybe you should script and be a bit more coherent, but, like, whatever, man. It's just... You know, at the end of the day, ignore comments. Like... Don't... You know, I also learned this, especially when I upload reacts to, like, things about Endwalker. It's just a complete fucking dumpster fire, man. But yeah, like, don't take it to heart. No, you know, a bit more of a flow might be better, but if you don't want to do that, you don't want to do that. People will find you that do like that, so don't worry about it. You should have seen the comments in the PF Mog Talk, where I was just ranting the entire time. People fucking hated it, man. People thought I was a massive asshole. Look, man, I just had some grievances to get out. I don't need to do much of my island right now. It's max level. It's max level now. I'm just waiting for my workshop to make shit. Thank you, Tess. I'm a big fan of you too, man. But yeah, honestly, this is good. I'm not gonna watch the tea tips and cool tricks video, right? And it's not because I don't like tea. It's just because it's not great React content. But like this I can get behind because it's an important topic and it's something I have opinions on too. So, good content. Keep it up. I liked it.